It's long been said Guardiola's dream was to have a team full of midfielders. An entire 11 with the ability of midfielders.
Yeah, that's true.
However, today we take it to the extreme and create Pep's nightmare. That's right, so we are with Man City today, and this is the template we find ourselves in. This is a request that I've had several times of playing just midfielders, so no defence and no strikers. And that's the only place we can put players. The hard part now is trying to work out what roles will give us any sort of chance of not getting sacked after 5 matches. So place your bets now. How long do we last? We know in this game that November seems to be key sacking time. If we can somehow get to January, it's a great achievement. Okay, what the hell do we do here? I know what's funny. If we press quick pick, this is the team it throws at me. So it's saying Walker, Cancelo, Ake, Rodri, Stones. That isn't that bad. And then Grealish, Nunes, Foden, De Bruyne, Silva. You'll notice a glaring omission is Big Erling. But in my team, Erling's going to be a central midfielder.
What are you doing?
So we're going to retrain Erling and make him forget everything he's learned about being a striker. My thoughts for this is going to be very simple. I'm going to have everyone on attack in midfield and everybody in defensive midfield, you've guessed it, will be on defend. Now, the 3 roles here might give us a chance. Let's have the 2 guys that know how to play centre-back, half-backs, or do we do all 3? Let's just do 2 for now and see how it goes. Edison, you've got to be a sweeper keeper on attack. I want him to play basically as my centre-back. Team instructions. Our only hope is to keep the ball as long as possible. So let's drag that back there. Play out of defence. There is no defence. Work ball into box. Why not? Underlap. Yeah, I think we're going to run at defence because we might have to when we've got the ball. This is the nightmare. Let's have a look what counter press look. If we press counter press, everybody's going to run around like maniacs. So let's drop that. What about counter? Okay, we'll counter because then the 3 guys at central midfield, central defensive midfield, will sit there. This is where it looks blooming ridiculous. This is a mid block, so that's our defensive midfield and that's our attacking midfield. Oh my god, that's our much higher line, which means over that halfway line. So let's go standard and oh my god, this is so hard. We're going to try and not trigger a press. We definitely don't want to do that because they'll be out of position. Stay on feet, drop off more. So that's the team. Our first batch of fixtures hopefully are quite kind. Man United, Wolves, Everton, Chelsea, Arsenal. It could be worse. Seems a long way till November though. Let's go. So how did preseason go, I hear you ask? A casual 6-6 draw against Marseille. A 4-4 draw against Huddersfield. Now in this match against Girona, new superstar midfielder Erling Haaland scored. Can you believe we won that match 4-2, but we do own Girona, so that might have something to do with it.
Of course, yes.
Because in the next match we lost 6-1 to AZ Alkmaar.
Oh, shit.
So, in our pre-season, we managed to concede, let me total this up, 29 goals in 6 matches. As we went into the Community Shield, I was obviously a bit worried because of the Alkmaar game. However, Manchester United had absolutely no idea what to do with this. Time after time, we cut through them, especially on the counter-attack. Grealish here leaves them in his dust. And by the end of the match, look at this build-up play and the midfield runners. We'd smashed Manchester United 5-1 using that. I was intrigued by the average positions on the pitch, so with the ball against Manchester United, we looked a little bit like that. It looks like a solid 4-1-4-1, right? Without the ball, you can see the problems where the central midfielders stay higher than the wing backs for an overall position of that. So pre-season was done, and what I'm about to show you completely blew my mind. I guarantee you've never seen this before in Football Manager.
Are you ready?
Look at that. It's like a spaghetti bolognese of chemistry. What have we created? As amazing as that looks, I was still a bit worried about the wing backs playing everybody on side because they get a little bit deeper than everyone else. So Wolves came to town for our first Premier League game of the season, and the midfield runners completely bamboozled them as we raced into a 3-0 lead. However, they seem to work it out. When we lose the ball, they realise there's absolutely nobody in defence, so they just started hoofing it over the top, and that caused us to concede 4 goals. However, we led 5-1 at half time, And that was enough to get our first win of the season in our first match. And by the way, 79% possession. The next game was a tricky looking one away to Everton, and to my utter amazement, we just continued to bamboozle the opposition. And the heat map looks exactly like you think it would. However, it was Chelsea in the next match, and this guy had an absolute field day. As you can see, he just pounces through the middle time after time in this one. All his goals were pretty similar, that big ball over the top and the finish. He scored all 5 as we lost to Chelsea 4-5. Now our first big defeat came away at Arsenal. The same ball, the same goal. We need to fix this. Right, in honesty, the first 4 matches have gone way better than I thought they could have. The only problem we've got is that ball over the top that's killing us. What do we do with it? What do I do? The options are to press higher, these lot. So crank the press up to try and stop the defenders. Like man mark them with these lot to maybe push them up. Or change the roles back here. If we go back to the Chelsea match and Lukaku there. Who's marking him? So Rodri's there. He's the defensive midfielder. So he's out the equation. Ake's a half-back. Stones is a half-back. So they're all kind of missing him. So we can bring in man marking in our next match. To make Stones and Ake mark the centre-backs. I think that centre-forwards. I think that's what we'll try. So from now, we'll go to the half-back and we'll add in mark-specific player. It looks like they're going to be playing one striker. Odsonne Edouard. We're going to have him and Ake both marking him. Hopefully one of them can get the job done. We were ready to put our new master plan into action. Against Palace, Odsonne Edouard scored a double hat-trick.
Embarrassing.
Just gonna remove that from there. We then conceded 7 to Stuttgart, 5 to West Ham, and 6 against Liverpool. I mean, Ederson tried his best. With the pressure increasing, I dropped the defensive line back and I increased the trigger press. Why not? Against Newcastle, it paid off as we got back on the winning trail thanks to central midfield superstar Erling Haaland. 6-5. After 7 matches, we were sat in mid-table, having scored 22 times but conceded 32. And date check, we have made it to October. With it looking like the wing-backs were playing everyone on side, I decided to push them forward so we wouldn't have that problem and try and catch teams offside. And that proved to be an absolutely disastrous decision as Ivan Toney went mental. And we got beat 10-0. Let's just put that back to where it was.
It's a disgrace. That's what it is, a disgrace.
Despite that result, the board was still satisfied with my management of the team. Are you sure, lads? We tightened up in the next match, only conceding 5 to Leicester, but now the pressure's starting to mount at the 21st of October. As expected, this is where the goals have came from. Long balls 25, through balls 29. In a last-ditch attempt, I'm going to ask all my central midfielders to trigger the press more often. I also slapped in a couple of defensive wingers to try and put pressure on fullbacks. I'm also going to ask my central midfielders to mark the opposition centre-backs. I've done all I can. There's nothing more I can do. If you think you can do better, what would you have done? Honestly, what would you have done? At this point, check out this poll I put on, look, only 34 minutes ago, so early days in it. October or before is 16%. That's the least amount. You people have got too much faith in me to predict this. 29% of you are maniacs. Far too much faith in me. And the big news is we've made it to the 3rd of November. But we did just lose 8-2 to Brighton with Danny Welbeck scoring a double hat-trick. Then against newly promoted Ipswich, we found our groove again. For a little while, and then that happened. 8 times. Not surprisingly, the players were starting to kick off, but we'd managed to stay in the job longer than Eddie Howe and Erik ten Hag both got sacked in October. But there was no time to get cocky as we fell into the relegation zone and I got sacked too.
You're joking. Not another one?
So we made it all the way to the 7th of November. I mean, we called it, didn't we? But despite that absolute torture, and it was torture, nobody can take that away from me. I've never seen that in Football Manager, and I probably won't ever see it again. If you feel like you can last past me, let me know in the comments how the hell you did it.